a look at question 4, which always gives you a statement and asks you if you agree. And we're going to use this source that we've previously annotated for question 3. So let's just have a look at question 4, what it asks us first. So, focus this part of your answer on the second part of the source from line 28 to the end. Worth highlighting that. The student said, in this part of the story where Zoe and Jake are caught in the avalanche, I can't believe Zoe is so slow to react to the warning signs because in the end the situation sounds really dangerous. To what extent do you agree? So you've got to have an opinion. In your response you could consider Zoe's reactions in this part of the story, evaluate how, and I'm going to highlight that because it's really important you don't forget, the writer makes the situation sound dangerous, and support your response with references, which we always do that anyway. I'm just going to make a note here. Evaluate how means that you must analyse language. How does a writer do anything? With words. 20 marks. So for this one, we're going to aim for 3 PEEF paragraphs, because that's quite a number of marks. So let's have a look at the extract. I'm not going to read it all again because we've already done that once, and if you need a refresher you should go back and look at the first video. So let's have a little look from lines 28 to the end. And we're looking just to remind ourselves for anything that shows that Zoe is slow to react, that there's warning signs, or that it's dangerous. So I'm going to use a different colour highlighter so I can see the difference, and probably a different colour pen as well. At the edge of the slope near the curtain of tree, she felt a small slab of snow slip from under her. I'm definitely having that, and I'm having it because this word here, slip, is a verb, and it shows instability. So surely she should recognise that that's dangerous. You might also notice that you've got sibilants there, look, which is the repeated S sound. Always makes things sound a little bit uneasy, negative. It was like she'd been booked, so she took the fall line to recover her balance. Before she dropped 300 metres, the whisper of her skis was displaced by a rumble. Okay, I'm going to go for booked and displaced. So booked, displaced and slip, all are verbs to do with instability. And because they all mean something similar, that makes it a semantic field. And it shows that perhaps she is in danger of falling. I would also note the contrast between whisper and rumble. And obviously we know, running out of space here, contrast, the fancy word for it, just going off the bottom of my page there, sorry, is juxtaposition. And it shows that the piece could be broken. Rumble sounds dangerous, like thunder. Obviously contrast to that nice peaceful whisper. Okay, let's see what else we can find. Zoe saw at the periphery of her vision that Jake had come to a halt at the side of the piste and was looking back up the slope. Irritated by the false start they had made, she etched a few turns before skidding to a halt and turning back to look at her husband. Okay, now there's clues in here that there's danger to come, isn't there? Her husband comes to a halt, he stops, and he looks back up the slope. So the writer might wonder what he's noticed. Is she a little bit naive to be just vaguely irritated? So that shows she doesn't take the threat seriously. Or, if we go back to the question, that she ignores the warning signs. What is her husband looking at? Okay, let's go to the second page, see if we can find anything juicy to write about. The rumble became louder, definitely. Shows danger, doesn't it? And there was a pillar of what looked like grey smoke unfurling in silky banners at the head of the like the heraldry of armies. It was beautiful, it made her smile. So she sees this grey smoke, which is described as a pillar, and that looks like something from an army, warlike. So surely that is dangerous. Grey smoke suggests a change in atmosphere. Armies, war imagery suggests damage and danger. And a pillar is something strong, mighty usually, something quite big. But look at her reaction. It made her smile. So I think she's being a little bit naive. Surely if you saw a great big load of grey smoke coming towards you, you would wonder what it was. Then her smile iced over. So here we've got another short sentence to make it dramatic. And is this the moment that she actually realises? Too late, perhaps. Perhaps she should have taken some notice earlier. And we can tell it's dangerous because of the way her husband is acting, speeding and flying. Those are verbs again, and they show urgency. Get to the side, she knew now that it was an avalanche. Jake slowed, batting at her with his ski pole. Get to the trees, hang onto a tree. Let's just see if there's anything in this last bit that emphasises the danger that they're in. Rumbling had become a roaring in her ears, drowning Jake's words. She pushed herself down the fall line, scrambling for traction, trying to accelerate away from the roaring cloud breaking behind her like a tsunami at sea. That definitely shows that she has a lack of control. It's a simile, sure you noticed that. Jagged black cracks appeared in the snow in front of her. She angled her skis towards the side of the slope, heading for the trees, but it was too late. So even the writer there is telling us it's too late. She saw Jake's black suit go bundling past her as he was turned by the great mass of smoke and snow. She too was punched off her feet and carried through the air, twisting, spinning, turning. You've got a list of 3 there. Again, showing no control. She remembers something about spinning her arms around her head. For a few minutes it was like being agitated inside a washing machine. Very similar to that one, so I'm just going to do a little line there. Until at last she was dumped heavily in a rib-cracking fall. What I am noticing is the verb choices being used by the writer. Because we've got things like scrambling, dumped, bundling, punched. All of these are, again, verbs to show that she's being shifted about by this avalanche and she's got no control. Dangerous, violence even. Then there came a chattering noise like the amplified jaws of a million termites chewing on wood. The noise itself filled her ears and muffled everything, and then there was silence, and the total whiteness faded to grey, and then to black. So ending on silence and blackness is very ominous, isn't it? Very dangerous. You could even say it connotes connotations of death. Question mark.